All right, now we are recording. So I really do want to take you a second for you to be proud of your accomplishments. Applying to colleges, some of you may not have a chance to see in person, having to do your research online, doing your homework and assignments virtually for almost a year. You have not let any of that stop you from being here today and from being accepted to Temple. So for that, I applaud you. And I think you need to take some time to applaud yourself as well. You have done a lot of hard work to get here. So today is about you getting your questions answered, meeting the current students and faculty that will welcome you to campus, and hearing from our alumni who wish they could do it all over again. First, it is my great pleasure to introduce you to the College of Science and Technology's Dean, Dr. Michael L. Klein, a Laura H. Carnell Professor of Science, Director of the Institute for Computational Molecular Science, and Fellow of the Royal Society. So welcome, Dean Klein. You can share your screen, and we're very excited to hear from you.
So good morning, everyone. Great to have you here and welcome you to the College of Science and Technology. As you just heard, I'm the Dean of the college. And again, congratulations on your acceptance to Temple. Well done. I trust you and your families will have a wonderful time learning what our great university has to offer. The College of Science and Technology is a bit of a mouthful. We usually shorten that to just CST. Let's see if I can move that one on. So at CST, we have tremendous faculty members that will help you learn the fundamentals of the key departments we have: biology, computer information sciences, earth and environmental sciences, chemistry, mathematics, and physics. These departments also embrace many subfields like biophysics, material science, biochemistry, neuroscience, data science, genomics, and much, much more. You will have the opportunity as a Temple undergraduate to participate in real research experiences with some of the top researchers in the fields I just mentioned. And you will have access to the tools of advanced technology. CST, importantly, has dedicated advising staff to ensure that your education needs are fulfilled, and most importantly, that you graduate on time. Our professional development staff has job fairs, helps with resumes, practicing interviews, helps line you up for internships, and prepare you for your future career. During today's program, you will hear from the CST advisors, the students, and importantly, faculty members and even chairs of departments. Please listen to their stories and their advice. And as you already heard, ask questions. So what did I say? Ask questions. This is a unique opportunity for you to get information that you need. Importantly, CST is a launchpad for your education and future career. Your ultimate goal may be graduate school, medical school, a job in one of the modern industries, working with data science or other top careers. And CST is your best choice if this is the future you have in mind. CST will make a difference in your life, and importantly, you will make a difference to the world around us. Thank you for joining us today, and please enjoy Admitted Students Day. Again, welcome to the College of Science and Technology, and thank you.
Thank you, Dean Klein. It's so nice to hear from you and to have you with us today, so I really appreciate that. Now I want to introduce you to two people who will be very instrumental in your time at CST, as Dean Klein alluded to. So first we have Tom Price, our Director of Advising, followed by Kelsey Craig, our Career Coach.
Hi, I'm Tom Price. I'm the Director of Advising for the College of Science and Technology. I'd like to welcome you to our Admitted Students Day. What is academic advising? Your academic advisors help you understand the differences between high school or your current institution and CST and Temple University. We help orient you to the curriculum. We connect you to the resources to help you achieve your academic and career goals, and we help you successfully transition to our college. One of the ways in which we do that is through our first year seminar or transfer seminar, which is designed to make that connection, to foster academic success, to connect you to those resources, to connect you to your peers in the college, as well as your advisors and the faculty of our college, and to help promote your personal development and well-being. The other thing that we do to help you with that transition is our advising structure. We have a team of advisors that are first-year advisors that are dedicated to work with you now through the orientation process and through the successful completion of your first year. And then we also have what we call discipline advisors that are divided by our departments. So the biology, chemistry, earth and environmental sciences discipline team, and our computer and information sciences, mathematics and physics team. And those are advisors that are versed in your curricula in those departments, can help you from your sophomore year through to graduation. We also have faculty advisors for every single major in our college that can help you with your career aspirations and selecting your upper level electives so that you can achieve your academic goals. And also within our college, we have peer advisors that can help you answer your questions and get a peer perspective. Those are students who've already been through what you're about to go through and help you along your way.
Hi, everyone. Oh, hi, everyone. I'm Kelsey Craig. I'm the CST career coach, as Danny mentioned, and I, along with the Director of Professional Development, Rose McGinnis, work really hard to provide many opportunities for students to connect with employers, to learn about graduate programs, and to get experience, whether it's through internships or research experiences, so that you know when you leave Temple University that you're going to do what you love and it's going to just feel right. Through that, or to achieve that, we offer a number of different services. I do one-on-one coaching with students. We offer group workshops where it may just pop up in the middle of the week where, hey, come learn about how to build your resume. As a freshman, we certainly recommend you come and talk with us or the University Career Center to start getting your professional documents straightened out and start connecting with employers to learn about the different opportunities that are available to you. Another way that you can do that is that we offer virtual resume reviews. And so you may not have time to pop in between classes, or maybe you're getting involved in organizations. And so you can just upload your resume online and we will get you feedback virtually. We offer 2 job fairs, one in the fall semester, one in the spring semester. And while they've looked a little bit different this year, we've had many employers over the years who have come and hired our students. We've done in person. This past year, we've tried virtual career fairs, and both have done very well. And we're very excited to offer this opportunity for you to connect with employers and learn about internships or full-time positions. And we also have the undergraduate research program, which we support and can help you get connected with faculty to learn about research programs, whether it's through that program or even just through their department in general. Research is certainly a wonderful opportunity for many of you to consider in the future. We are very excited to have you here to help you along the way and get you started on your career path.
Thank you, Kelsey, and thank you, Tom. Okay, so now for the fun part, in my opinion. So we are going to utilize breakout rooms today to make sure that you get information that best suits what you're most interested in. So I'm going to show you this slide here. In just a second, I am going to open the breakout rooms. But as you can see, you can find your major on this list here. So if you're listed under the main room, you will simply just stay put here, and you will hear from a biophysics major, biochemistry major, biochemistry alum, and then professors from the biology, chemistry, and earth and environmental sciences department. And then if you are listed under breakout room 1, that means that you are within the computer and information sciences department, math and physics, and you will hear a student speaker from the information science and technology major, an applied math major, and then 2 alumni. One is a math and physics alum, and one is a computer science alum, as well as professors from those departments. If you are an undeclared student, choose whichever of those seemed most interesting to you, and also feel free to pop in between the two. We also will have breakout rooms number 2 and 3, which are listed as first year advising and transfer students. We will have an academic advisor within each of those rooms. Now, these rooms are really just if you have personal questions that you think would be better asked one-on-one. Otherwise, we do encourage you to stay in one of the main rooms, as your question will likely be entered there. But I do know that we have some students who have already chosen that Temple is where they want to attend, and we're so excited. So if you want to speak with an advisor, that room can be utilized for that. So let me open the breakout rooms. Oops. Let me stop share for a second. All right. And all rooms are open. So faculty and speakers, if you are in the CMP room, you can break out now. Otherwise, you can stay in here. But please enjoy. All right, so we'll just have to give everyone a minute to do that. Great. And now we can begin with our room. So welcome to all of my biology, chemistry, and earth and environmental science students. And now I can be finished doing my talking, and we can hear from the people who live and breathe Temple every day. So starting with our current students. So first, we are going to hear from Amber. Amber is one of my CST student ambassadors. She is a senior biophysics major. So Amber, take it away.
Hello, hi, I'm Amber. I'm a senior biophysics major and a Spanish minor from Lower Moreland, Pennsylvania. And I'm currently actually living off campus because I have some in-person classes that I have to attend. When I was a senior in high school, I actually didn't really know where I wanted to go to school. So I applied to mainly schools in Pennsylvania and a little bit outside, but mainly Pennsylvania schools. And I initially applied to Temple because I knew it was affordable and convenient since it was so close to my hometown. I honestly didn't think I would end up at Temple at first because I didn't really know what the school was about, but after attending my acceptance students day, I fell in love with the school. And I actually remember that this was the first time I ever toured campus. And I was just so amazed with all the resources that Temple had provided, such as the new library, the tech center, and the campus research labs. However, I actually knew, that the Temple was a really good school for me because I spoke with a physics representative at my acceptance students day. Because I originally applied to Temple with a physics major in mind, but after speaking to him, I found out that there were other majors, such as the one that I am currently finishing out, which is my biophysics major, which I'm really glad that I made the switch because for somebody that wants to do a pre-health path, it was really helpful for me to be able to take these courses together while finishing out with a single degree. Also, I really love Temple because I've made so many new exciting memories here. My favorite part about Temple is actually the lab portions of the classes because labs were always so much fun for me because of how interactive they were and how we were able to get to know our TAs in such a small space. In addition, since some of the lectures were so large, labs were always how I made most of my friends, and we would make study groups and sit together during class. Specifically, my favorite lab was when we got to meet fruit flies in genetics, even though that was right before COVID, and then we all had to go home. I still really liked that because it was so interactive. And it was so fun to look forward to going to that lab every week to make sure, oh, did my fruit flies survive? Also during my time at Temple, I always tried my best to get involved. For example, the summer of my junior year, I participated in the summer undergraduate research program known as the URP. The URP is an undergraduate research program which allowed CST students to work in research labs. And I really liked this program because when I initially looked into labs to work in, you're able to see all the labs such as physics, bio, and chemistry. So for me as a biophysics major, I could join a variety of labs but I specifically was able to choose things geared towards what I wanted to do. So I ended up choosing the lab at Temple Medical School to learn more about medical research. And in this lab, we focused on nerve regeneration, and working in this lab made me realize that even though I want to pursue a field in health professions, I still want to be able to conduct my own research someday in my future. And this also actually helped me decide where I want to go to optometry school, since some schools are more clinically focused rather than research. So SUNY actually is a very research heavy focus as well. So I thought it was a good balance of my time at Temple and what I've developed that I liked. And CST helped me make this decision in so many different ways. Like, for example, they exposed me to research environment through the URP, and throughout my major in biophysics, I was able to pick upper level electives such as optics and biomedical courses that helped me gain more specific knowledge to help me with my optometric path. Also, when I became interested in optometry, I was able to utilize the resources from the pre-professional health studies, the PPHS, because they would provide like timelines for what you need to do and when you need to do them. And it helped guide me with my application process. And they would make you make an e-portfolio in the summer before you apply. So I was able to get all of my resources all compiled in one location. So when I did apply, I was able to do that quickly and on in time. And I actually ended up doing it really early because it was so easy. And some advice that I wish I could tell my high school self would be to keep an open mind, because many people come into college thinking that they have to stick to their major, but clearly that's not the case. Many things change over time, and you develop so many different interests because you're exposed to so many different things here at CST. So I just like how you're not glued to what you commit to, and you can change for many different reasons. Like, don't feel afraid.
Thank you, Amber. Thanks for sharing your story. And that's such a great point to end on too. One great thing about CST is that we have, about 30 different majors, and especially if you're in either like a life science track, so like the room that we're in now, or if you're in a tech track like the other room, you take a lot of similar classes within your first couple semesters. So you all have to take the foundational courses, whether that's for this room, chemistry, math, biology, or in the other room, that would be like foundational coding courses. So you're not going to be behind by any means. I mean, that's what college is all about, right? Is trial and error, figuring out what works best for you. So thanks for sharing that, Amber. I think that's really helpful. So next up, we are going to hear from Shreya, who is a junior biochemistry major.
Hi, my name is Shreya. I'm currently a junior at Temple University, and I'm doing a biochemistry major, an art minor, and a certificate in genomic medicine. I was originally born in Miami, and I moved to Pennsylvania when I was around 8. And I currently live in North Wales, Pennsylvania, with my parents and my younger brother. So I initially applied to Temple University because I live nearby and because I was interested in pursuing medicine as a future career. I know that Temple University had lots of clinical, volunteer, and research opportunities, and I also really liked the urban and friendly environment at Temple. I felt like I could fit in there as a student. I chose Temple because I was accepted into Temple Honors, and I received a generous financial aid package and entry into the SSP program, which did provide me with a stipend for the research I pursued. I also chose Temple because it was a good school with wonderful professors and lots of opportunities to thrive academically and socially. I was admitted to Temple initially as a bioengineer, but I ended up switching to biochem because I felt that it was like a better fit for me and my medical school career goals. And I think understanding how biomolecules function are especially relevant in the clinical field, as new pharmaceutical drugs are currently being developed using rational drug design and understanding the structure and function of biomolecules. So as someone looking to become a physician, biochemistry is just inherently especially relevant and useful. And so in terms of my classes, I loved biochemistry with Dr. Willent. I think that learning protein macromolecular structures was my awakening. And I think that I think of protein function as like a kind of like a puzzle where you understand the intermolecular and microscale interactions. And they're really key to understanding the overall function of the protein or whatever macromolecules system you're looking at. And I also just really enjoyed PChem with Dr. Spiridula, and I think it's a really fascinating subject. So in our class, we were learning about quantum mechanics, and I thought it really blew my mind because learning how to apply the wave function to like literally every microscale biochemical interaction is just like, crazy. And in terms of my research, I work in 2 labs. One is on the health sciences campus at the Temple University Pharmacy School under Dr. Mark Ilias. And we both work to optimize the synthesis of gold nanoparticles. And I started this position in spring semester of my freshman year. I also had the opportunity to work in another lab alongside that simultaneously under Dr. Sanjeevani Arora at Fox Chase Cancer Center, where I focused on cancer prevention and control. And I actually started there at the end of high school, end of high school kind of, and have really stayed there ever since. And so both of these labs were completely open to undergraduates, and really to get a position, you just have to like email the PI. So after graduation, I hope to matriculate into medical school and go on to become an oncologist. And I have interest in both clinical work, research, and art. So I'm hoping to like kind of combine all 3 of those, and CST has really helped me, given me the opportunity to like not just pursue science, but also pursue like other interests such as art. And so I feel like CST really just helped me achieve those dreams. And so my advice to high school seniors who want to go into CST would be to really just pursue what you want, what you genuinely enjoy in college, because if you stay true to your heart, you really can succeed in anything you do.
Thanks, Shreya. Your passion for science just radiates off the screen. So thank you so much for joining us today. And sharing all of those amazing experiences that you've had, and Amber as well. So next, last but not least, we are going to switch things up, and we're actually going to hear from a recent graduate. So Sophia, we'd love to hear from you.
Hi, everyone. My name's Sophia, and I'm actually currently calling in from Berkeley, California. I graduated from CST with a major in biochemistry this past year in 2020. It was a COVID 2020 graduate. And so, yeah, I came to Temple because I really had absolutely no idea what I wanted to do coming out of high school. I didn't even know that I wanted to do science. I came to Temple completely undeclared. I think I was actually in the College of Liberal Arts. And my mom was very kind of gently encouraging me to follow a pre-med track, actually. And so to do that, I started out with like general chemistry my first semester. And I realized pretty quickly that I did not want to be a medical doctor, but I really loved chemistry a lot. And I was really excited about chemistry and biochemistry specifically. And so through taking those classes, I was able to switch into CST, which was a super easy process. I think it took me like 5 minutes or something. It was so easy to do. But yeah, I declared a biochemistry major by the end of my sophomore year, which is also, I feel like I have a little bit of a different track because I like had no idea what I wanted to do when I came to college. And it took me until the end of my sophomore year to declare my major. And I graduated in 4 years and was able to immediately start my PhD program. So that's also just like a piece of advice to you all. If you don't exactly know, in CST what your specific major is going to be right away, do not stress about it because there is plenty of time and plenty of classes to take to be able to figure that out. And so when I was in CST, my sophomore year, I took organic chemistry, and I loved that class so much. And I loved my professor, Sarah Wengerdick. And I asked her if I could do research with her. And so through the undergraduate research program, like both of the other students have mentioned, I was able to start doing research in her lab my sophomore year. And so in that lab, I was working on reaction methodology development using nitrogen ligated hypervalent iodine reagents, which is just a really long word for some fancy molecules that can do some pretty cool chemistry. And so during that time, I realized that research was really my passion and really what I wanted to do. But I actually wasn't entirely sure that I was going to go right into a PhD program when I finished. And so my fall of my senior year, I was attending a ton of CST sponsored events, including all of the career fairs. And I was really realizing through attending these career fairs that the careers that were, available to me directly out of college were not what I was excited about right there. I wanted to continue to do research in an academic setting. And so even though I didn't end up choosing one of the careers from those careers fairs, I'm actually really grateful that I was able to attend them because it really helped me narrow down what I was interested in. And so I decided to apply to PhD programs. And I was, very honored and lucky enough to get into University of California, Berkeley molecular and cell biology program. And it was a pretty big switch for me going from like pure organic chemistry research to now I'm much more biology focused, but I really credit Temple and CST with giving me such a broad and well-rounded science education that transition has actually been really smooth. And even though, most of the kind of hard lab techniques that I learned when I was doing all of my undergraduate research are not necessarily the same techniques that I'm using now. All of the skills that I got from CST, and especially all of the skills that I developed in the lab courses, have completely transferred. And quite honestly, like my other first years in this PhD program who have done, like all biology research their whole life or career, or whatever, I feel exactly at the same level as them. And I really credit Temple's CST for that. And so, yeah, I would be happy in the Q&A to answer any questions specifically about what it's like doing a PhD. I guess I should mention that my research now, I'm currently doing rotations. So most PhD programs, or a lot of them, when you first enter, you kind of rotate through a couple of different labs to be able to figure out which lab is the thesis lab that you're going to join. So I'm currently in my third rotation, and I'm kind of spending every waking hour trying to figure out which lab I'm going to join as my thesis lab. But generally, I'm interested in the molecular mechanisms behind gene transcription and translation, basically how proteins are formed in the cell and what kind of molecular mechanisms control that process. So thanks.
Very cool. Thank you, Sophia. There's only one thing that you said that I don't agree with, and that's when you said that you're lucky that you were able to get into the UC Berkeley program. From hearing you speak, you were prepared, you are intelligent, and you are deserving of being in that program. So you should feel very proud of yourself. And we are lucky to have you here today. So thank you. So I hope you enjoyed hearing all of these amazing ladies speak. And now we're going to let you take some control over the session. So I am now going to introduce our faculty panelists. So along with our faculty and our students and alum, we would love for you to ask any question that you have. And as I mentioned at the top of this session, please use the chat feature to do that. So it just looks like a little speech bubble. So you can just ask your questions in there, and we will monitor that and make sure we get them all answered. So our faculty panelists today, so we have three professors with us. We have Dr. Seema Freer, who is Associate Professor of Biology, and she is the Managing Director of our Professional Science Master's Programs, or PSMs. We have Dr. Ann Valentine, who is a Chemistry Professor and Vice Chair of the Chemistry Department. And then we have Dr. Allison Tumarkin-Daratsian, also known as Dr. Allison, who is Vice Chair, Professor, and Head of Undergraduate Advising for the Earth and Environmental Science Department. So now I'm going to unshare my screen so we can see all of their lovely faces. Great. Okay, so here we already have one question, which is great. And this is actually a question that I wanted to ask anyway. So this question is for Shreya. So Shreya, what is it like balancing a science major and an art minor? And then if you could just take it a little further and explain how it is to get a minor outside of CST.
Okay, yeah, I could do that. So I actually didn't think it was too hard balancing science major and art minor. Art has just really been something that I've always been passionate about. I draw in my free time or paint. And so even taking an art minor was just something that I just loved, and it was fun for me. And so in terms of balance, I just kind of the way I schedule stuff is I have an entire checklist of things I have to get done. And once I knock all of those out, I pretty much have time to dedicate to painting and drawing. And so it really depends on what's a better fit for you in order to balance what classes you have. The science major classes, the ones I'm taking for biochem, are difficult and challenging, but being able to balance those tasks along with maybe assignments you have in art, it just takes a little bit of getting used to. And once you get used to and you find your niche, then it all works out, And in order to answer Danielle's question about the process. So really, since I took a minor outside of CST, it was really easy. You just have to reach out to the Tyler Art School and email them and let your advisors know that you were interested in pursuing an art minor, and then they'll declare it for you, or you can declare it either way. And so it's not too hard of a process. It's it took me maybe 10, 20 minutes to do.
Great. Yeah. And Amber actually has a Spanish minor, right? So that's also in a different school outside of CST. A lot of CST majors will choose to minor in a different school. That's one of the great things about Temple is there's over 150 different majors. So you could take classes in any of those majors with the electives that you have in your schedule. So that's always great. So we do have another question, which is awesome. Keep them coming. So this says, I'm attending next year as a biochemistry major with an interest in a pre-medical track. However, I'm not a pre-med health scholar. Am I still able to continue on that track? Now, we just had a pre-health Q&A. So we had questions all about, pre-health field. So I'm so happy to send you that recording. You might already have an email waiting for you from that, but I can send it to you. But the short answer to this is yes. The percentage of students who are pre-med health scholars, so for those of you who don't know, that is kind of an accelerated program with a provisional acceptance into Lewis Katz School of Medicine. The percentage of students in that program is very, very small. So the vast majority of students who aren't on this pre-med health scholars track, and you are able to get all of the resources from pre-professional health studies, as Amber mentioned when she was talking about it. And Shreya is on a pre-med track as well. Sophia started on a pre-med track. So yes, you will get all the resources. I don't know if any of the professors or anyone wants to add anything to that, or if I covered it, but.
Yeah, and actually a lot of your classes for the pre-med track align with your major, especially since you're in CST. So many of the classes I took for biochem align. So you don't have to retake or take anything else. So it's you can, even if you're not a pre-med health scholar, you can still quite easily go into the pre-med track and take those courses.
Yes, Sydney, I will absolutely send you that video. If you just send me, anyone who wants the pre-health recording, just shoot me an email. I just put it in the chat. I'm going to send you an email at the end of the month with all the recordings, but if you want it quickly, I'm the same way. Don't worry, I'll send it to you. Okay, so now I have a question that I would love the faculty to answer for each of their different majors. So these three ladies are very interested in research and pursuing graduate school and professional school, which is amazing. But there also are many CST students who don't take that route. So I was hoping that each of the faculty members could kind of talk about some of the career paths you could take if you aren't interested in research or professional school. So maybe we'll go in reverse order just because we've heard a lot from bio and chem. So if we start with Dr. Allison, then Dr. Valentine, and then Dr. Fear, that would be great.
Sure, Danny, thanks. So I'm Dr. Allison. As you can tell by the length of my last name, I generally don't use it. I'm one of the faculty advisors, actually head faculty advising for Earth and Environmental Science. We have two majors in our department, environmental science and geology. And as Danielle said, we do have students who go on to graduate school, not so much to the PhD, but on to master's programs. But we also have students getting jobs directly out of finishing their bachelor's degree with us. We are one of the major suppliers of people to environmental consulting firms in the area of Southeast Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Delaware, parts of Maryland. So if you're interested in helping out in environmental issues, water quality, things like that, we have a very strong alumni network through a lot of the environmental firms in the area. We also have students that have gone on to positions with state geological surveys, both in Pennsylvania and in New Jersey. So there are definitely career paths that are open if you don't want to continue going on into graduate school, or if you think you might want to, but you're not sure yet and you want to get some work experience first. In terms of sort of non-specifically environmental tracks, we've had some of our geology majors going into the energy industry. I know a lot of people tend to think fossil fuels when they hear the energy industry, but that's not the only path. Our chair, Nicholas Devatsis, actually, he does a lot of work with structural geology and the geothermal industry, and does a lot of work out west figuring out how fault mechanics works for geothermal energy production, so looking into alternative energies as well. So there's definitely career paths and even research opportunities that don't require going directly immediately into graduate school. That's out there. So
Perfect, thanks. Go ahead, Dr. Valentine.
Okay, so I'm here on behalf of chemistry. And for our students who don't go on to graduate or professional school, certainly a large number go to work as bench chemists. So there are lots of jobs in the pharmaceutical and chemical industry, especially around Philadelphia, for bachelor's level trained chemists. That's a common thing. We have students who go to work in academic research labs as again, bench chemists. But also we have people that take their technical training and their training in critical thinking and go to do different things. About that. So another thing, a common thing, we have a strong partnership in our department with one of the biggest forensic testing labs, happens to be in Willow Grove, Pennsylvania. It's called NMS Labs. And a lot of our grads go to work there, putting their technical training to work in the forensic field. But also people take their technical training to do things like regulatory affairs. We have a prominent alum who works in sort of regulatory consulting. And my personal favorite, Danielle can vouch, we had an alumni event the other night and we brought back a student I had in class a few years ago who is an intern at the Metropolitan Museum of Art, who is he's learning about the science of art conservation, which is definitely the alum that I would like most to switch jobs with, because that sounds just totally cool.
Thanks, Dr. Valentine.
Yeah.
My name is Seema Freer, and I am representing the biology department. One of my other jobs is to serve as the managing director of the professional science master's programs. And these programs were developed specifically for those students with a bachelor's degree who were seeking for options outside of medical school or dental, optometry, podiatry, all of which require a pre-med track. So these are students with biochem majors, sometimes chemistry and physics. We have several master's programs, all of which are offered in a +1 format. What does that mean? As a rising junior, as a Temple student, you have the opportunity to enter the master's program and take graduate level classes, which will count both towards your bachelor's degree and your future master's degree. Once you graduate in 4 years, you do a +1 year where you can do forensic chemistry, something that Dr. Valentine alluded to, or bioinformatics. You don't need to know coding, we teach you that. Biotechnology, bioinnovation, where we teach you to be an entrepreneur. Scientific writing, where you use your critical thinking skills and writing skills into technical writing, and you take that into regulatory writing, grant writing, all of the opportunities you have there. We also have high performance computing, which does not relate to any of the students in this call, or cyber defense and information assurance. Those two are also offered in a +1 format. Should you not choose to enter in the +1 format, you can still come and take 2 years or 18 months, depending on how quickly you want to finish your master's degree with us, and do any of these master's degrees to go into careers in the biopharmaceutical industry, which would require some knowledge beyond understanding small molecules, biomarkers that was mentioned earlier today, and some of the chemistry. So we give you the opportunity to understand the pipeline of drug development, of device development, of startups and entrepreneurship related to startups. So you can use your science background and your subdiscipline background and be trained for the industry. All of our programs have external advisors from GSK, which is GlaxoSmithKline, Johnson & Johnson, J&J, you all know that, the vaccine, Merck. We have alumni, distinguished alumni who have come back as external advisors. Just as one wonderful chemistry alumni who is now retired was responsible for the drug that stopped HIV in its tracks, Crixivan. We have a current faculty actually who has trained some of our students, who is now developing a way to eliminate HIV while in situ, so within the body. He's already proven that with rodents and primates. Dr. Khalili, he works in the medical school. So all this to say that your training and your major is perfectly suited for advancement in careers outside of medical school. And sometimes that's an eye opener to many students because they think it's med school or bust. You know, my mom wants me to be a doctor and I'm not a doctor. What am I going to do? Which is a very sad statement. Of our 150 alum from the professional science masters, over 90% of them are in the biopharmaceutical industry in various levels of the pipeline: clinical research, medical research, regulatory affairs, pharmacovigilance. There are bench scientist jobs, and then there are non-bench scientist jobs. So there are many opportunities, and we are very fortunate that not only is Temple the 6th largest provider of professional education, we are surrounded by biopharmaceutical industries right here in Philadelphia, outside of Philadelphia, in Pennsylvania, and surrounding New Jersey. So the jobs are plentiful. In fact, sometimes they don't have enough people to fill the jobs. So I would love to tell you more about the biopharmaceutical industry. And if any of you choose to come to Temple, please look us up. All of us here on the call would love to have chats with you. Certainly look me up. You can ask the bio department how to get hold of me. I'll put my email in the chat.
Danny,
Great.
can I just add one thing to that?
Oh, please.
Sort of piggybacking off of Dr. Freer, she mentioned the +1 programs. One of the big advantages for our students, I know you're all just thinking about getting started as first-year students, but the fact that you can take these graduate courses in the +1 program, you know, starting in your junior year and your senior year, you're actually completing that first year of your master's, and you're paying undergraduate prices for that. So you're basically saving 40% roughly in your cost for attaining your master's, which is a big advantage. So keep that tucked back in your heads when you're thinking about things, because there's lots of advantages to doing that kind of program. You know, there are parameters that you have to meet to join it, but it's something that's a great opportunity that many places do not offer.
And one more thing that happens with the +1 year is that all your classes in that last year are in the evening, which means that from 9 to 5, you're actually in the job that you're training for. So our students apply for internships and co-ops and are often working. And then when we have in-person classes, driving over, fighting rush hour traffic to make it to class. COVID has taught us to have many online classes, so we may continue with a hybrid format for those programs, but it's suited for the working professional.
Great, thank you. Okay, great. We have another question in the chat, so make sure that you're putting your questions in there as we're coming up on time a little bit, and I want to know what you want to know. So this is for Dr. Allison. What types of internships are available for environmental science and geology students? And perhaps Kelsey, if you have anything to add, you can add that as well.
Sure. So internships in terms of local, it's mostly going to be with environmental consulting firms, as I mentioned. There are opportunities for research that are separate from internships with individual companies. So we have had students that have done internships with various environmental consulting firms or water quality type things throughout this area, but we also have many students in both the environmental science and the geology majors that have done research programs either through the URP program, which was mentioned previously, or even outside of it, just working with professors on their research projects. And some of them have presented at scientific conferences with abstracts, getting the practical experience with research techniques, which then can transfer onto their resume and moving forward for employment moving further. So our discipline is a little bit less sort of the standard internship specific compared to some of the others, but there are many opportunities to get the practical experience that then you will need moving forward in the job market. And as I mentioned, particularly in the environmental consulting realm, we have many alums throughout the greater Philadelphia area who are always contacting us either with internship opportunities or basically saying, you know, we're hiring, who do you have and who have they been doing research with in the department and who would you recommend? We're getting these types of things all the time. So there's definitely opportunities for getting practice in the skills that you would need in the job market. And a lot of people tend to think geology, environmental science, it's all like outside field work type research. And while it is true that those opportunities are there, there is also a lot of geotechnical and data processing and GIS and mapping. So if you're not necessarily an outside person and you prefer more in lab or computer work, those opportunities definitely exist within the earth sciences as well. So you can, you know, be outside doing all of this, but you can, if you prefer to be in the lab more, those opportunities abound, both at Temple and in the job market.
Thank you. That's super helpful. And we had another question in the chat about like internships for biology, and correct me if I'm wrong, any of the faculty, but I think that's also why you hear a lot of students who are doing research is because research is almost like an equivalent for an internship for science fields. It's a way to get that hands-on experience that teaches you these real skills and then things you can draw on in interviews. I think as Dr. Freer mentioned, we do have those connections with the pharmaceutical companies, if that's something that you're interested in. But I think that I opened the floodgates for questions in the chat, which is making me so happy because I want to answer what you want to know. So I don't think we have any dual majors in this on this call, but I can give my perspective, and then if any of the professors want to jump in. So someone asked, what's it like to dual major within CST? So I have had past ambassadors who were dual majors, like in neuroscience and biochemistry. And then I've also had made CST ambassadors who were dual majors in neuroscience and then public health, which is outside of Temple. So I think it's probably a bit easier to double major within CST if you're taking majors that are similar, because as I mentioned, you're going to have a lot of the same foundational courses required by the majors, which kind of you can double dip a little bit if you have the same requirements for majors. But then something that's going to help you across the board is if you're coming in with any of those AP credits, if you're coming in with any dual enrollment credits or transfer credit, that might help free up some space in your schedule so that way you can take more classes. Dr. Valentine, correct me if I'm wrong. Did you give an example the other night of someone who had two completely different majors?
We have seen a lot of, sort of chemistry and music, things like that. My current research student is a chemistry math double major. So both within CST. And I think the main thing would be just working with the advisors. So, from early on, we encourage, dare I say, require students to sit down with advisors and map out a plan. And so that's where, you know, you can really figure out how you're going to fit in all your different major requirements and complete it all within 4 years. And that's what he'll do as a chem math double major.
Awesome. Yeah,
If I could add one thing to that as well, we currently have a senior environmental science major who is a double major in sociology. And I mean, it's definitely doable to double major, but either 2 majors within CST. We also have a double major in geology and environmental science. That's really hard to do unless you know you want to do it from the beginning. And again, it all has to do with scheduling and meeting with advisors. And if your second major is outside of CST, making sure that you're working with your advisor in both colleges. It's administratively easy to do, but it takes some planning. So it's definitely doable, but you need to be willing to put in the effort to meet with advisors on both ends to make sure that you have the time in your schedule to meet the requirements. That's really the hardest part of it.
Yeah, that's a great point about advising. It actually ties into another question that we got that I can answer quickly. So someone said, I plan to major in biophysics. There you go, Amber, you have a friend. What are some fitting classes to start off with as an incoming freshman? So this is a question that I get all the time. So I will be emailing you throughout the summer, encouraging you to complete the next steps that you need to register for orientation. So at orientation over the summer, you will meet with a first-year advisor who will help you select your classes. And then once you begin at Temple, you'll be in what's called our first-year seminar, or if you're a transfer student, a transfer seminar. And you'll actually make a 4-year course plan if you were to stick with your major that will kind of lay out the courses that you'll take each semester to make sure you get your major requirements. So we're not going to make you just pick your classes like, hey, here's the whole catalog, just try to figure it out. We will meet with you that very first before classes start at orientation and help you select. Just so you kind of have a preview, your first semester will be your math course. So you'll take a math placement test to find your correct level. You'll take your first year seminar. Depending on your math placement, you could be taking like a general chemistry or the first science course within your curriculum. You'll take one of your general education requirements. So there's a bunch in there, and then you might have room for a free elective, of course. So they'll help you with that, but that will all take place during orientation. Thank you, Dr. Freer. Dr. Freer put in the chat a bunch of different internships and research for bio majors. So she mentioned ecology research with Dr. Sanders, who is our department chair. Dr. Cortez? Dr. Cortez, he does really cool research in the ocean. So he'll go on like scuba diving trips. Or do you want to explain, Dr. Freer?
Well, he actually does deep water research. So he uses Alvin. So, you know, they go out in the ship and then they deep dive with Alvin, and he's done much of the work, research around the Deepwater Horizon oil spill that happened 10 years ago. Some of you were very young, so may not know about it, but your parents will. He discovered the largest coral reef that exists out on the eastern seaboard of the United States recently. And so that's pretty cool. We also have 4 centers within biology. 2 of them are computational centers, Institute of Genomic and Evolutionary Medicine. And the other one is a computational genomics and, let's see, they all are so similar, genetics and genomics, Center for Computational Genetics and Genomics. There's a Sparrow Health Center for Cancer Research. So within chemistry, I believe there are at least 2 centers, if not 3. So students can do their research or quote internship, the undergraduate research internship, through centers that exist within the department and centers that exist and individual labs that exist across the university. We have 17 schools and colleges, of which at least 6 of them are related to biological research or biochemical research or chemical research. So we have the School of Dentistry and the medical school, pharmacy school. So you're not restricted to research just within your department, as many of the students have already mentioned.
Yes, that is a great point. Thank you for adding that. Just want to get through a couple more of these questions in the chat. These are great. So Shreya, I know that you answered this in the chat, but perhaps you and Amber could elaborate on this. But on campus, are there any jobs related to the medical field that we could apply for, or any around campus?
So like I said, there are some, so not directly on main campus, but, you know, there are a lot of opportunities on the health sciences campus, which is like, you know, 5 minutes by train. But like, There's like, medical scribe opportunities. There's the at your service intern at Temple University Hospital. You can even like try and get involved in some of the research at Temple Hospital or like the medical school. So there are like plenty of opportunities. Temple is also affiliated with FCCC, Fox Chase Cancer Center. And so there are a lot of opportunities there in volunteering and research. So really just kind of knowing like what exactly you're interested in and like in terms of research and like just like reaching out, I guess. And looking on their website to see like what opportunities there are.
Okay, Amber, is there anything you wanted to add? That was great, Shara.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I forgot to mention earlier, my URP, the undergraduate research program opportunity was actually over the summer. Usually if you do the undergraduate research program, you would do it either during the spring semester or the fall semester, but there's also a summer option. But if you do it during the spring or the fall, you would get course credits for it. But in the summer, you can opt out of doing the course credits and kind of get paid for doing the research. So I thought that was good because since I take so many credits in the spring and the fall anyways, I would get paid during the summer to get that experience as well. So you could also do that. And as Shreya said, there's a lot of scribing opportunities, and Rose McGinnis sends out emails like, I swear to God, like bi-weekly about all these opportunities that you can do. And they're so interesting. Like you wouldn't even like think about some of them. So I would definitely keep your eyes out like for emails that you get from CST, because they give you so many different opportunities that you could do, paid and unpaid.
And to quickly add onto that, PPHS also sends out like tons and tons of emails with like so many opportunities. So that's another source.
Yeah, so start getting good at checking your emails, aka read the ones from me because they're very important. Thank you so much to the professors who are answering questions in the chat. That is incredibly helpful to me, so I really appreciate that. So if your question isn't being answered out loud, check in the chat. I know Dr. Valentine put some great answers in there about how labs are being conducted virtually and our plans for the fall, which is great. Someone asked, can you explain the difference between pre-pharmacy and admission as a pharmaceutical science major? Sure, I will do this very quickly. So when you apply to Temple as a pre-pharmacy major, you will be automatically screened to see if you meet the requirements to be given a provisional acceptance to our School of Pharmacy. Now, if you have been really interested in pre-pharmacy, you might have been doing some research online, and you see one of the things about pharmacy is that to go to pharmacy school, you don't actually need to have a bachelor's degree. You just need to complete the prerequisites to apply to the program, which is about 60 credits. So if you are given that provisional acceptance to pre-pharmacy, you will automatically be switched to a pharmaceutical science major. So this is an option only available for those who have been given that provisional acceptance. And the pharmaceutical sciences major is an accelerated degree. It allows you to earn that bachelor's degree in 3 years and then go directly on to pharmacy school in your 4th year for a total of 7. If you weren't granted that provisional acceptance, that does not by any means mean that the door is closed for you. You will come in as a pre-pharmacy major and you'll start taking that prerequisite coursework. If you meet a certain GPA requirement, then you can apply again to the pharmacy school. You can choose not to finish your bachelor's and just go right on to your PharmD, or you could choose to earn your bachelor's degree in that standard 4 years, either as a biology, chemistry, biochem major, and go to pharmacy school. Pharmacy is one of those I get so many questions about, so please email me and we can set up a time to talk individually about that as well. So we are wrapping up here. We are heading into our final minute. I did just want to ask one final question that we do get asked a lot. We didn't get asked today, but I wanted to ask, and this is a question for Sophia and Amber and Shreya. So this is just about, a lot of people see Temple, big school, how am I supposed to know my professors? Are they going to know my name? Am I going to get lost in the crowd? And I'd love if you could just talk about some of the things that helped you make Temple feel a little smaller, whether that was faculty relationships or class size or anything. Again, I know it's almost 11:30, so if you have to go, that's fine, but I just want to ask this last question. So Sophia, why don't you start?
Yeah, I mean, I think that Temple, it's definitely a big school, and I think that makes it great in a lot of ways because there are a ton of opportunities, especially with the research. There's so many research opportunities. But I also was able to develop really close relationships with many of the faculty. And honestly, so all of the teaching that I was a peer teacher every semester starting the beginning of my sophomore year until I graduated. And that started with Professor Daniele Ramella in the chemistry department because I took him for my freshman general chemistry course. And that class was, I think, about 50 people, so not huge, but not super small. But honestly, I would go to his office hours all the time. At the beginning of my college career, I was really struggling. I was not doing well in classes, and I was having a hard time transitioning from high school to kind of the college class environment. Which also goes to show you can still do a PhD even if you are struggling at the beginning. And so I would, go to office hours, and that is something that I would tell all of the students I peer taught. And that's the best piece of advice, because you can really create individual relationships with all of the faculty if you do that. And then also once you, the entry level courses for a lot of majors tend to be a little bit bigger, just because so many different majors require general chemistry or the intro biology courses, but once you get into the more upper level, more specified courses, they're a lot smaller. And so my senior year, when I was taking biochem electives, I took genome editing with Dr. Balchunas, and that class had 5 people. And so that was a super small seminar style class where we just talked about current research papers, and it was all discussion based. And so there's really all different types of class sizes. The classes definitely get smaller as you progress in the major, but yeah, my biggest advice would be go to your professor's office hours. It's not scary. They want to talk to you, I promise.
Awesome. Thanks, Sophia. I don't know, Shreya and Amber, do you want to add anything really quickly, or do you think she got it?
I can add something. Like she said, your courses as you progress get a lot smaller, but as a biophysics major, I found personally for me, my classes for physics are a lot smaller than the bio, because obviously bio is one of the most popular majors. So what I found is helpful for me is especially virtual, staying after class, turning your camera on, making comments in class makes it a big difference, because no one really does that anymore because they just kind of have their cameras off. So a lot of professors have expressed to me in my classes that it's very, frustrating that they can't see anyone's faces. So I know everything's going to be mostly a hybrid next semester, but keeping your camera on and going to office hours is really helpful, because I feel with every professor I've had, I was able to form a relationship with them, even though I didn't always go to office hours.
I agree with Amber. Office hours, Amber and both Sophia, office hours is literally the key to doing well in the class, and even building relationship with your professor. And I think from the perspective of a student that was admitted into honors going in, I had kind of small classes starting off with. So around my first few classes were around 30 to 50 kids. And taking that into perspective and comparing that to some of the other larger classes, 100, 150, it was pretty small and tight knit, and you knew everyone in your class and the professors. And so again, even if you're in a big class, you have to go to office hours, because otherwise it's just so hard to learn. And for me, especially as a person who's really a talkative person, talking things out with someone else, I think office hours just really helped me, do well in my classes and, enjoy what I'm learning.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Well, that is just about time for us today. So thank you, everyone. Thank you to our current students, alum, faculty for being here on this sunny Saturday. I hope that you can go out and enjoy the weather after this. For the admitted students, thank you so much for coming. I do have on the screen some of the next steps for you. So for the rest of the day, admissions has put together a schedule for you. You can check out the different sessions that they might be having. I've also put on the screen some departmental events that we're having this month. You should have been emailed by now about the chemistry current student panel that's happening, the earth and environmental science meet and greet, which are next Tuesday. We do have a really cool professional development event on March 22nd about some of the cool careers, and we have alumni on there. And then we have a genomic medicine Q&A, which is next Thursday. So if today has given you that feeling or aha moment that Temple is where you want to spend your college career, you can make your deposit on your TU portal at any time. That is not due until May 1st, but for priority housing, you'll want to try to make that by April 1st. So I hope that you all have a great day. Thank you again for coming. Thank you to the panelists, and best of luck. Bye.